Artists can give us a new understanding of ourselves and our surroundings. What is it like to live here? Who is here? See by taking a step back and looking at a city as a skyline. How many people are working there and living there? This is an art piece called We Were Strangers Once Too. It also steps back to look at who makes up a city. Each one of those colored bands shows the immigrants from a certain country who have come to New York City. When you look at the sculpture from a certain angle, it looks like a heart and shows that we're all together. You might find where you come from somewhere on this art. We can use numbers and data in art to show things very effectively. This artist used the colors of her mood to show how she was feeling over the course of a year. I want to look at a really interesting number, pi, an irrational number, and see how we can visualize it in art. First, I wrote all of the digits of pi out across my graph paper. Then I graphed that digit, 1 through 9, on that paper. I'm coloring it in with dark marker so that I can create a beautiful skyline of pi. It shows that the number is really unpredictable and it goes on and on and on. After I create my black bars, which will become the buildings of a pi city, I do a rough cut first and cut out the bulk of the shape, and then go back in and cut out all of the fine details. That makes it a little bit easier to do with my scissors. Holding my paper in my non-dominant hand and then cutting with my dominant right hand. Next, I'm going to tape down some paper that I have because I'll be using a wet media on it, and this helps keep it flat. What I'm using here is watercolor crayons. I can use the side of the crayon to apply pigment, and then just a light brush of water across the top to create a blend. Here on a different paper, I did white wax crayon, then applied my watercolor crayon on top to make a night sky. With a light watery brush, I've created another paper I can use for this project. And if you don't have those exact materials, you might have another kind of watercolor. I'm working very quickly because this is very absorptive, almost just plain copy paper that I'm using here, so it doesn't stay very wet. So I'm getting my paper a little bit moist with a thin brush and then quickly pulling a color across that paper. This is another way to create a nice washed sky. And now that I have a dry background, I can use a blue stick to adhere my buildings to that project. So I'm fixing it down from the bottom and then smoothing it upwards. And I'll be able to use that glue stick to go back and help really push down all the little flaps of the buildings. And now that I have my art all complete, I can add details with a black marker to make my skyline a little bit more interesting. You can add features in the sky and all around. Have fun creating your beautiful skyline pi art.